Shadows on frozen horizon, the metal hull of Astra's scout ship groaned against the bitter winds of Erebus 9 as she secured her thermal suit and checked her pulse rifle a final time. 6 months of tracking had led her to this desolate moon, its surface blanketed in methane ice and abandoned hope. Target confirmation, she whispered into her com as the biometric scanner pulsed with a non-human signature inside the research station ruins ahead. The Imperial bounty was substantial enough to retire on capture the alien. Fugitive designated as subject Sigma, dead or alive, preferably the former. Intelligence suggested the subject was dangerous, harboring biological capabilities that could destabilize Imperial control across 3 systems. The mission brief had been unusually specific. No witnesses, no questions, complete elimination. Astra moved silently through the research station's fractured corridors, her footsteps muffled by years of frost buildup. The station had been abandoned during the Hellion conflict, its purpose now lost to bureaucratic records and time. Life signs ahead, her tactical display warned. Single entity, non-human, minimal defensive capabilities. The chamber before her had once been an observation deck, its massive viewport now webbed with cracks that somehow held against the moon's toxic atmosphere. Bathed in the light of distant stars stood her target motionless, waiting. The alien's purple skin cast a soft glow that illuminated the frost-covered consoles around her. Not hiding, not running, expecting. Astra raised her weapon. "Imperial Warrant Officer Reed," she announced. "Protocol overriding instinct. You are a designated subject Sigma, fugitive from Imperial justice. Surrender or be neutralized." The alien turned slowly, her luminescent eyes shifting from deep violet to a calm blue. She wore simple garments that seemed to flow like liquid around her slender form. "You've come a long way, Commander," the alien spoke, her voice carrying melodic undertones that seemed to resonate directly within Astra's mind. "My name is Soraya, not Sigma, and I've been waiting for you." Stra's finger tensed on the trigger. "Don't speak," she commanded, fighting the unexpected tremble in her voice. Hands visible. Soraya raised her hands slowly, palms forward. "I could have fled again," she said. "I chose to wait because you need to know the truth before you make your choice." "There is no choice," Astra replied, advancing one calculated step. "Imperial orders are absolute." Sad smile crossed Soraya's face. "Then why did you come alone, Commander?" "The Imperial protocol for my capture requires a full tactical unit. Yet here you stand, by yourself, as if some part of you already questions your mission." The observation struck deeper than Astra wanted to admit. She had requested solo deployment, citing efficiency and stealth. "Your file says you can manipulate thoughts," Astra countered. "This conversation is meaningless." "I cannot control minds," Soraya replied, taking a small step forward despite the weapon trained on her chest. "I can only reveal what already exists within them. The doubt, the questions you've carried since Proxima Station." Astra's breath caught. Proxima Station had been her first mission for the Imperial Scientific Division, a routine security operation that ended with an entire research team mysteriously dead. The official record claimed mechanical failure, but her memory held fragments of something darker. "What do you know about Proxima?" Astra whispered. "Everything they made me forget," Soraya answered, her eyes now glowing amber with intensity. "Everything they're making you forget, piece by piece. I am not what they told you, Commander, and neither are you." Echoes of truth. Astra's weapon remained steady, but her mind raced with unwelcome questions. The mention of Proxima Station had triggered fragments of memory flashes of laboratories, subjects in containment, and Admiral Thorne's direct orders to sanitize the facility. "You have 30 seconds, Astra said, her tactical training fighting against growing uncertainty. "Explain what you mean." Soraya's purple skin pulsed with a gentle rhythm, illuminating the frost-covered walls around them. "May I show you instead?" she asked, slowly extending her hand. "My people communicate through resonance, not just words." "No contact," Astra warned, taking a step back. "Just speak." "I was not born a fugitive," Soraya began, lowering her hand. "The Luminari have existed in the outer reaches for millennia, peaceful and separate from Imperial expansion. We sense emotional resonance, the truth behind words, the intentions behind actions. It's why the Empire fears us. Astra's tactical display flickered, the readout of Soraya's biometrics showing no signs of deception. Continue. 3 years ago, Imperial scientists led by Admiral Thorn captured several of my kind. They discovered our resonance abilities could be weaponized, used to influence populations, detect resistance before it forms. They called it Project Echo. A cold realization crept along Astra's spine. Her classified missions over the past years suddenly connected. The capture of dangerous elements that were always delivered directly to scientific division facilities, never to be seen again. Proxima Station was where they perfected the process. Soraya continued, her voice wavering. They harvested resonance capabilities from my people, killing them in the process. I was scheduled for extraction when something went wrong. A researcher named Dr. Chen helped me escape. Dr. Chen died in the mechanical failure, Astra countered. But even as she spoke, the memory felt manufactured, implanted. There was no failure, Soraya replied. When I escaped, Thorn couldn't risk exposure. He eliminated everyone with knowledge of Project Echo and fabricated the accident. Your memories were altered, Commander. You weren't sent to secure the station. You were sent to eliminate witnesses. Astra's hands began to tremble, the weapon suddenly heavy. That's impossible. Imperial officers undergo cognitive shielding, which makes you perfect vessels for altered memories. Soraya's eyes shifted to a deep indigo. Your shielding protects against external manipulation but allows Imperial recoding. Think, Commander. How many missions have you completed without question? How many gaps exist in your memory? The room seemed to spin as Astra fought against a sudden flood of contradictory memories, faces of scientists pleading. Security protocols overwritten by her own hand, Admiral Thorn congratulating her afterward. Why am I hunting you? She finally asked, her voice barely audible. Because I carry the truth, Soraya answered, and because I possess something they desperately want. She slowly reached for the collar of her garment, revealing a small crystalline object embedded in her chest, pulsing with energy. The complete resonance patterns of my people. With this, they could weaponize emotion across entire systems. Astra's comm unit suddenly crackled to life. Commander Reed. Status report. Admiral Thorn's voice cut through the silence. Imperial reinforcements are inbound to your location. Confirmation of elimination required. Soraya's eyes met Astra's. Your choice approaches faster than you thought, she whispered. They never intended for you to leave this moon either. Too many missions. Too many altered memories. You're as disposable as I am. The tactical display on Astra's wrist confirmed the approaching Imperial vessel's heavily armed destroyers, not the standard extraction team protocol called for. Reed, respond immediately. Thorn's voice hardened. Confirmation required. Astra looked at Soraya, then at the weapon in her hands, feeling the weight of truth crash against years of loyalty. In that moment, she made her decision. Target secured, she responded, lowering her weapon. Proceeding with extraction? Read out, she turned to Soraya. We have 17 minutes before they breach atmosphere. If you're lying, I'll kill you myself. If you're telling the truth, then we both need to disappear. Soraya finished, a small smile forming on her lips. I know a way out they won't expect. Between stars and silence, the maintenance tunnels beneath the research station twisted like arteries through the moon's crust. Forgotten pathways left from the original mining operations. Astra led the way, her tactical display providing limited guidance through the labyrinth of ice and metal. The Imperial ships will deploy ground forces at all known exits, Astra explained, her breath visible in the frigid air. These tunnels should lead to the old emergency launch bays. If we're lucky, something might still be operational. Soraya followed close behind, her purple skin providing a gentle illumination in the darkness. Your decision to help me, she said softly, was it just self-preservation? Astra paused at a junction, checking her scanner. Right now, it's about survival. Truth comes later, if we live. They moved in tense silence until reaching a massive pressure door, its control panel long dead. Astra examined the manual override, calculating their options. This will make noise, she warned. And we don't know what's on the other side. I can sense no immediate presence beyond, Soraya offered, her eyes shifting to a concentrated gold as she placed her palm against the door. But there's something mechanical, dormant but functional. Astra nodded, making her decision. With a powerful twist of the emergency release, the door groaned open, revealing a cavernous hangar bay. Ice crystals hung from the ceiling like frozen chandeliers, but in the center sat there, Salvation, a small Imperial scout ship, obsolete but intact. Maintenance vehicle, Astra whispered. Basic hyperdrive, minimal weapons. It might get us to the outer colonies. As they approached the ship, Soraya suddenly gasped, clutching Astra's arm. They're here, she warned. Multiple presences entering the station. Their emotions are focused hunters. Special tactics, Astra confirmed, hurrying toward the ship. They'll have cognitive dampeners to block your abilities. We have minutes, at most. Inside the scout ship, Astra's training took over. Her fingers flew across the ancient controls, bypassing security protocols and initiating emergency power. The vessel hummed reluctantly to life, decades of disuse fighting against her urgency. Can you fly this? Soraya asked, settling into the co-pilot seat. Better than most, Astra replied, not looking up from the navigation system. The question is whether it will fly at all. The hangar doors above remained sealed, frozen shut by years of exposure to Erebus 9's harsh climate. Astra activated the ship's minimal weapons system, targeting the ancient mechanisms. Brace yourself, she warned as she fired. The explosion shattered the silence, ice and debris raining down as sunlight pierced the darkness for the first time in decades. The ship's engines protested as Astra pushed them to full power, thrusters burning hot against the cold air as they ascended through the newly created exit. Imperial vessels at 2 and 7, she announced, reading the tactical display. Destroyers, heavy armament. We can't outfight them. We don't need to fight, Soraya replied, studying the star chart. We need to disappear. The comm system suddenly crackled with Admiral Thorne's voice. Commander Reed, he began, his tone deceptively conversational. A disappointing development. You were one of our finest assets. Astra tensed, but remained focused on evasive maneuvers as the larger ships began pursuit. The memory adjustments were supposed to be perfect, Thorne continued, yet something in you resisted. Fascinating. Perhaps we should have studied you as thoroughly as the Luminari. He's attempting to destabilize you, Soraya whispered. Your emotions are fluctuating. It's working, Astra admitted through clenched teeth, banking the ship sharply to avoid incoming fire. What he's saying feels true. Soraya hesitated, then gently placed her hand over Astra's on the control panel. The touch sent a wave of warmth through Astra's mind, not controlling, but clarifying, like fog lifting from a landscape. Your true memories are still there, Soraya said, beneath the layers they created. In that moment of connection, Astra saw flashes of her past, her real past. Training not as a hunter, but as a protector. Missions of peace before Thorne's division recruited her, purpose twisted and corrupted through years of manipulation. The asteroid field surrounding Point Nephthys, Astra suddenly announced, pulling away from Soraya's touch and adjusting their course. Dense enough to mask our signature, dangerous enough they won't follow recklessly. As they accelerated toward the distant field of floating rocks, warning shots from the Imperial vessels streaked past their hull. They're not trying to destroy us, Soraya observed. They want us alive, perhaps, Astra corrected, executing a series of evasive maneuvers. They'll want to study before disposal. Find out what went wrong with their perfect soldier. As the asteroid field loomed before them, Astra turned to meet Soraya's gaze. I don't know what happens if we survive this. I don't know who I am without their programming. Soraya's eyes shifted to a warm violet. That, she said quietly, is the most honest thing you've said since we met. And honesty is where freedom begins. The small ship slipped into the asteroid field, leaving the Imperial vessels to make their choice, risk destruction in pursuit, or regroup and hunt more cautiously. For now, at least, they had bought themselves time. Constellation of Whispers, the abandoned mining outpost on Helion 6, existed in the bureaucratic, blind spot of Imperial records, officially decommissioned, unofficially a haven for those avoiding Imperial attention. Astra guided their battered scout ship toward a concealed docking bay nestled within the planetoid's cratered surface. "We need supplies, information, and a better ship," she explained as they powered down. "This place operates on a simple principle. No questions asked, no answers given." Soraya adjusted the hood of her cloak, concealing her distinctive purple skin. "Will your Imperial credentials be a liability?" "They might be our only advantage," Astra replied, checking her sidearm. "Especially if Thorn hasn't officially labeled me rogue yet. I want this contained, quiet." The outpost's main concourse buzzed with the diverse energy of societies of gift smugglers, exiles, and drifters from dozens of systems. All united by their desire to remain unseen by Imperial eyes, holographic advertisements flickered in multiple languages. While automated vendors offered everything from synthetic nutrients to identity forgeries, Astra led them purposefully through the crowd toward a small establishment marked only by a faded symbol of a binary star system. Inside, the lighting was deliberately dim, conversations hushed. "Wait here," she instructed Soraya, guiding her to a secluded booth. "I need to make contact with someone." At the bar, Astra ordered 2 synthetic spirits, her eyes scanning the room. Until she found what she was looking for, a slight figure hunched over complex calculations at a corner table, she approached cautiously. "The quantum variance always destabilizes at the 3rd decimal," she commented. Placing one of the drinks before the figure, the man looked up, his aged features registering momentary shock before settling into cautious recognition. "Commander Reed," he acknowledged. "I heard rumors of your demise." "Greatly exaggerated, Dr. Chen," she replied, sliding into the seat across from him, though not for lack of trying on Imperial behalf. Dr. Chen's eyes darted nervously around the room. "If you're here, then something went very wrong," he whispered, "or very right, depending on perspective. I found your luminary Astra," stated simply. "She said you helped her escape Proxima Station." The scientist's hands trembled slightly. "Soraya survived," he breathed, relief evident in his voice. "Thorn told us she had been terminated, used as an example to the others." "Others?" Astra leaned forward. "There are more survivors." 3, possibly 4, Chen replied, "hidden throughout the outer systems." After Soraya's escape, Thorn dispersed the remaining subjects to separate research facilities. The Resonance Project was too valuable to abandon. Astra processed this information, fragments of her own manipulated memories continuing to resurface. "I need to know what they did to me, Chen." The scientist's expression grew pained. "Imperial hunters undergo extensive psychological conditioning, but you were special. Your natural empathic readings were off the charts, not luminary level, but remarkable for a human. Thorn saw potential for a hunter who could sense targets like them. He weaponized me against them," Astra concluded, the truth settling like a weight. "Because I could understand them," Chun nodded grimly. "The memory adjustments were meant to channel that empathy into focused aggression. Each mission, each capture, reinforced the programming while suppressing your true nature." Across the room, Soraya suddenly tensed, her eyes shifting to alarmed amber beneath her hood. She caught Astra's attention with a subtle gesture. "We have company," Astra murmured to Chen. "Imperial presence." "Worse," he replied, discreetly activating a small device on his wrist. "Mercenaries. Thorn employs them when official channels might create unwanted attention. They're likely tracking the scout ship's signature." Astra spotted them, no 3 figures moving methodically through the establishment, their posture and scanning patterns unmistakably professional. "We need extraction," she told Chen, "and information on the other Luminari survivors." Chen slid a small data crystal across the table, coordinates for a resistance cell, operating beyond the Harian Rift. They've been gathering evidence of Thorn's experiments for years. As for extraction, he gestured subtly toward a service corridor. "Maintenance shaft leads to private hangar bay 6. Preset coordinates already loaded. Payment handled." Astra pocketed the crystal. "You were prepared for this." "I've been waiting." 3 years for someone to finally see through Thorn's deceptions, Chen replied with a sad smile. "Go. I'll create a distraction." Before Astra could protest, Chen stood abruptly, deliberately bumping into one of the mercenaries and causing a commotion. In the ensuing confusion, Astra slipped to Soraya's side and guided her swiftly toward the service corridor. The ship, waiting in Hangar Bay 6, was a pleasant surprise, a modified Corsair-class runner, built for speed and stealth rather than confrontation. As they prepared for emergency launch, Astra felt Soraya's hand gently touch her shoulder. "He sacrificed himself for us," Soraya said softly. His emotions were resolved, peaceful. Astra initiated the launch sequence, her jaw tight. "Then we make it count," she replied. "The coordinates he provided lead to others like you. If we can find them before Thorn, it's not just about my people anymore," Soraya interrupted, her eyes now a deep, determined blue. "It's about how many others like you are out there, hunting and being hunted, not even knowing what they've lost." As the ship slipped away from Helion 6, accelerating toward the distant rift that marked the edge of Imperial-controlled space, Astra felt something unfamiliar, a sense of purpose, not programmed or implanted, but genuine. "I spent years tracking quarry across the stars," she said quietly, "never realizing I was hunting reflections of what they took from me." Soraya moved closer, her purple luminescence casting soft shadows in the ship's cabin. "What will you do if we succeed? When there are no more missions, no more targets?" Astra had no answer, but as Soraya's hand found hers in the darkness between stars, she discovered she didn't need one yet. For the first time in memory, true memory, the uncertainty of the future felt like freedom rather than failure. Beyond the void, the Harian rift stretched before them like a vast cosmic wound, a turbulent region of space, where navigational systems faltered and Imperial patrols rarely ventured. Their ship, renamed Resonance by Soraya, pushed cautiously through the swirling stellar debris that marked the threshold to Resistance territory. "Approaching coordinates," Astra announced, manually adjusting their course as automated systems struggled with the rift's interference. "If Chen's information is accurate, the Resistance outpost should be within the asteroid cluster ahead." Soraya stood beside her, the crystal in her chest pulsing more vibrantly as they neared their destination. "I sense them," she whispered. "Luminari presence, familiar resonances, my people are there." A coded transmission suddenly broke through the static, coordinates shifting slightly from Chen's original guidance. Astra adjusted course, following the new trajectory until a massive asteroid came into view. Its surface, dotted with concealed hangar bays and defensive positions disguised as natural formations. "Incoming vessel. Identify," a cautious voice commanded over the com. "Refugees from Erebus 9, Astra responded. "Dr. Chen sent us. We carry information critical to Operation Echo." A tense pause followed before the voice returned. "Proceed to Docking Bay 7. Any deviation will result in immediate defensive response." The reception committee that greeted them inside the hangar was a study in tension-armed resistance. Fighters interspersed with 3 Luminari observers, their purple skin immediately identifying them as Soraya's kin. One stepped forward, her eyes shifting rapidly between colors as she assessed the newcomers. "I am Kaya, security coordinator," she stated, her gaze lingering on Astra's Imperial issue tactical gear. "Your companion is welcome among us, Doc. You, Commander Reed, are another matter entirely." "She saved me from capture," Soraya intervened, moving protectively toward Astra. "Without her, I would be in Thorn's laboratory, and you would remain ignorant of his plans." "Or perhaps this is an elaborate trap," Kaya countered. "Imperial hunters are notoriously resourceful. Even bringing one of our own as bait would not be beyond them." Astra removed her weapons, placing them deliberately on the ground. "I understand your suspicion. I was Thorn's weapon, programmed to hunt your people. I'm not asking for trust, just the chance to help dismantle what I was part of." A new figure emerged from the gathered resistance member, Zatal, dignified Luminari whose age showed in the deeper hues of his purple skin and the wisdom in his silver-ringed eyes. "I am Valen," he announced, approaching Astra without fear. "Former council elder of the Luminari, before our worlds fell. I would know the truth of your intentions." He extended his hands, palms forward. "With your permission?" Astra hesitated, understanding what he was asking. direct resonance contact, the deepest form of luminary truth-seeking. She glanced at Soraya, who nodded encouragingly. "It won't harm you," Soraya assured her. "But he will see everything, the real and the manufactured." Taking a deep breath, Astra stepped forward and placed her palms against Valen's. The connection was immediate and overwhelming, not intrusive but clarifying, as though every memory, every emotion, every facet of her existence was simultaneously illuminated. Valen's eyes widened, cycling through colors too rapidly to track as he witnessed the layers of manipulation in Astra's mind. The missions she had carried out unquestioningly, and finally, the moment of awakening with Soraya on Erebus 9. After what seemed like an eternity, he released her hands, turning to address the gathered resistance. "She speaks truth," he announced, "and brings more valuable intelligence than she knows. Through her, we have seen the full scope of Thorn's operations, the facilities, the security protocols, and most critically, the location of the remaining Luminari captives." Kaya appeared skeptical. Even if her intentions are genuine, the Imperial programming remains. She could be triggered remotely, which is precisely why we must act quickly, Valen countered, before Thorn realizes what knowledge we've gained. The next hours passed in a blur of strategic planning. The Resistance base revealed itself to be far more sophisticated than its exterior suggested, a fully operational command center with intelligence networks stretching across multiple systems. Maps displayed the locations of Thorn's research facilities, each holding pieces of Project Echo. "The primary research data is stored at Central Command," explained Rowan, the Resistance's tactical officer, Lee-guarded, virtually impenetrable. "Not entirely," Astra interjected, studying the schematics. "Imperial hunters have deep access protocols, emergency override codes that function even during security lockdowns. If my credentials haven't been completely purged from the system, a direct assault would be suicide," Kaya objected. "Not an assault," Soraya suggested, her eyes alight with purpose. A resonance cascade. All Luminari present turned to her with expressions ranging from shock to reverence. "The crystal I carry contains the complete resonance patterns of our people," Soraya explained to Astra and the non-Luminari present. "If we can access the central network and introduce these patterns, every piece of Project Echo technology will overload simultaneously. It would free our captured kin and destroy Thorn's research in one stroke," Valen added, his voice solemn. "But the vessel who carries the cascade would be consumed by it," Soraya finished quietly. Astra felt a cold realization settle over her. "That's why you were waiting for me on Erebus 9. You needed someone with Imperial access to complete your mission." "I needed someone who could make the choice freely," Soraya corrected, her eyes meeting Astra's with unflinching honesty. "Someone whose heart could withstand the truth." The plan came together with grim efficiency. A small team would infiltrate Central Command using Astra's credentials, while the Resistance created diversions across multiple facilities. Soraya would access the central network and initiate the cascade as preparations reached their final stages. Astra found Soraya alone in the observation deck, gazing out at the swirling energies of the rift. "You never intended to survive this mission," Astra stated. Joining her by the viewport, Soraya turned, her purple skin luminous in the dim light. "My fate was sealed when I absorbed the resonance patterns. The crystal is part of me now. I cannot separate from it without losing what must be preserved." "There must be another way," Astra insisted, surprising herself with the intensity of her emotion. "After everything we've discovered," Soraya stepped closer, her hand gently touching Astra's face. "You've already given me more than you know," she whispered. "In you, I found someone who could see beyond programming to truth, who could choose differently when given the chance." The proximity between them suddenly held new meaning. The connection that had been building since Erebus 9 crystallizing into something profound and undeniable. Astra found herself drawing Soraya closer, their foreheads touching as the luminary's emotions flowed freely between them: courage, purpose, and something deeper, warmer. "I won't let you face this alone," Astra promised, her voice barely audible. Their lips met in the space between words. A kiss that transcended species and circumstance, desperate and tender. a communication more honest than any they had shared before. Soraya's skin glowed brighter at the contact, her resonance harmonizing with Astra's emotions until it became impossible to distinguish between them. When they finally parted, Soraya's eyes had settled into a deep, determined indigo. "Whatever happens tomorrow," she said, "remember that some connections survive even when separated by the void." The Imperial Central Command facility orbiting Nexus Prime represented the pinnacle of Imperial power, a massive structure of gleaming metal and reinforced plasteel. Housing the nerve center of Thorn's operations, the Resistance approach was timed to coincide with a scheduled supply delivery, their modified ship transmitting legitimate codes provided by informants. "I'll security scan imminent," Rowan warned from the pilot's seat. "Oh, Commander Reed, your credentials will be verified first." Astra stood ready at the communication station, the familiar weight of her restored Imperial uniform both comforting and repulsive. "Understood." The scanner beam washed over their vessel, followed by an automated request for identification. Astra transmitted her access codes, her heart pounding as she waited for acceptance or rejection. "Imperial Vessel Artemis, you are cleared for Docking Bay 14, came the response. "Welcome back, Commander Reed. Admiral Thorn requests your immediate presence." "He knows," Kaya hissed from her position at tactical. "This is a trap," No Astra replied, studying the transmission details. "This is standard protocol for returning hunters." He's expecting a successful mission report. Their infiltration proceeded with practiced precision. Resistance members disguised as Imperial personnel, while Soraya remained hidden until they reached the central network hub. Astra led the way, her familiar presence and authoritative manner deflecting suspicion as they navigated the labyrinthine corridors. The final security checkpoint before the network core required direct biometric confirmation. Astra placed her hand on the scanner, holding her breath as the system processed her identity. "Welcome, Commander Reed," the automated system greeted as the massive doors slid open. "Admiral Thorn awaits within." The Admiral stood before the network core, a towering structure of crystalline data nodes and pulsing energy conduits. His expression revealed no surprise at their arrival, only cold calculation. "Commander," he acknowledged with a slight nod. "And companions, how disappointing to see my finest hunter reduced to such misguided alliances." Imperial guards materialized from concealed positions, weapons trained on the Resistance team.
"I did."
"You truly believe your defection would go unnoticed?" Thorn continued. "That your access codes would not be monitored? I've been tracking your movements since Erebus 9. Then why allow us to reach the core?" Astra challenged, buying time as she assessed their options. Thorn's smile was devoid of warmth. "Because you've delivered exactly what I wanted," he replied, his gaze fixing on Soraya as she emerged from hiding. The final component of Project Echo, the complete resonance patterns, conveniently delivered by its guardian. Understanding dawned on Astra with horrible clarity. "You let the Resistance find your facilities. You wanted us to bring Soraya here." The Luminari, a predictably self-sacrificing Thorn confirmed. "Creating a situation where they would willingly bring the crystal to me was simply efficient. Once integrated with our network, the resonance will allow emotional control across entire systems."